Hello, Thedosians. Today we are going to react to Dragon Age The Veilguard Get to Know Your Companions.
What are you thinking?
Let's get started.
So of course relationships are a big part of the Dragon Age IP, and that takes several different forms. Both the romantic, of course, we're all here for that, but also the platonic. And really these relationships you develop in the Veilguard, this is about a found family. They have the same goals, different complications in their life, but they're all giving everything they have to defend Thetis. You're going to get to know them really well. You're going to develop trust, understanding. That doesn't mean you're always going to agree. So I like to think of relationship not necessarily as how much they like you, but how well you know them. With any family, you can know them quite well, you can trust them a lot, you can like them or maybe you don't. Every family has their squabbles, but this is really about developing your understanding of each member of the Veilguard, and in turn, that's going to allow them to work better as a team. I love the environments. Your relationship with companions really affects both how their arc unfolds and your relationship with them, but how the companions exist on the battlefield, what their behaviors are. Building a relationship with companions has always been a staple of Dragon Age, but this time around, that relationship translates into how well you work together as a team. It is how you're actually going to level up your companions, by getting to know them better. That's how you're going to unlock skill points. So when you look at all of the various abilities the companions have, there's inherent combos and synergies and roles that they'll have on the battlefield.
Synergies are
Nev, for instance, has the ability to slow time or heal you right out of the gate. But if I really get the opportunity to know her, whether it's platonic or romantic, I'm going to help be able to shape her skills and augment those abilities that work really well with my own personal build. So our sense of teamwork really deepens.
We need someone to be our eyes and ears in the shadows.
Teamwork is good.
Well, Nev is our confident noir detective. I love to bring her onto the battlefield because she's just so incredibly capable. Is awesome. She's our ice mage, an amazing woman. Really big on controlling the battlefield. And that's actually a good metaphor to her arc. She wants to fight for change. She wants to fight for a better Minrathous, and she's going to use all the tools at her disposal to try and reshape Minrathous into a better place for all. She's very much a shadow dragon. This is among the mantra of the shadow dragons. They operate from the shadows, fighting for a better Minrathous. As this accomplished ice mage, she's fierce. She's fierce. She's not going to shy away from any challenge, whether it's taking down Darkspawn or dealing with the Magisterium in Minrathous.
And someone to bring a little darkness to the daylight.
The character that went through the most changes, without a doubt, was Lucanus. Lucanus is very complex. He's an assassin. He's very skilled in the art of death. The Antivan Crows, they pursue these contracts with a certain level of dispassion. But also Lucanus is a romantic, and he's dealing with some internal struggles. He's been through a lot of trauma. He's relearning how to trust. And all of those elements come together with a richness, but it creates a lot of complexity in how we tell that story. So I'd say Lucanus is the first one that comes to my mind in terms of the thought that's gone into it, where we've had to make adjustments to really cover all facets of his character.
Comment down below.
We're going into the Fade, aren't we?
Ooh, the Veil Jumpers.
My dear sweet Valara. I relate to Valara a lot. She is joyous. She's been through a lot, but she remains curious, optimistic. She's kind of a geek. She really likes her fiction. She fangirls over Nev a little bit. She's just so relatable. And I think that's what our players will find and fall in love with when they get to meet Valara, is just how much you'll recognize some of those patterns and sensibilities that she holds. But don't let it fool you. She is also a Veil Jumper. She is very comfortable in Elven Ruins. I frequently bring her with me in my party.
Yeah, and those Elven Ruins are
I
crazy.
like to play Rogue. I like to play the Veil Jumper, or the Veil Ranger.
I'm glad she feels right
Valar
at
is a
home.
fantastic companion to set up that spec with
I don't think I could do that. What about you?
So I love her both on and off the battlefield.
And digging up a lot of buried secrets.
Ooh, Emmerich.
Well, the thing about Emmerich that is going to surprise our fans the most is his relationship with necromancy. I really love that we kind of turned the idea of a necromancer on its head here, where you think of them as these conjurers of evil, the certain malice when you hear the term necromancer, but it couldn't be farther from the truth for Emmerich. There is a reverence about the dead. He has a unique relationship with death. You get to explore how he ended up in the Morn Watch. Death has shaped this character in all aspects of his life. We frequently refer to him as our
Skyrim
gentleman
vibes, anyone?
necromancer.
Skyrim
I think
necromancer
his proper,
vibes?
kind nature
But these
stems
vibes
from
are
that
the opposite of
respect
that.
he's learned about
Emmerich
the cycle of life and death.
looks
throughout
like a
his
very
life.
good gentleman.
Phenomenal character. In my last playthrough, I don't mind sharing, I romanced Emmerich. What I also love is
Yep,
I'm
that's what I thought.
synergizing with him as we're doing combos.
Nice.
Just having him refer to me as my dear on the battlefield. Well done, my dear. It just fills me with joy every time.
Perhaps these murals aren't simply memories. They're what Solus wishes to forget.
So Manfred is like a son to Emmerich. He very much has an affinity for this wisp, this life force that he's given a second chance through this skeletal body. And in many ways, it's the story of a parent raising a child. He needs to teach Manfred and help him along to develop as a character of their own. Things like learning new skills, how to assist the Veilguard. Some of our most charming moments are in dealing with Manfred. I must say, I absolutely love the interactions. They just have me rolling whenever Manfred steals the show.
What about Darkspawn?
Yeah. Someone who will stand between us and a pack of demons.
When we were thinking about Davrin, how we were going to develop him as a character, we had to think about how is he going to show up on the battlefield. And it was unique because he has this,
Nobody likes those Darkspawn, that's for sure.
The Griffin Asan. That makes him as a companion very unique because Asan shows up on the battlefield. So we had to think about how that integrates into his abilities, where Davrin, as
Grey
a Grey Warden, is
Whoop,
capable
whoop.
on his own. But also, when does he call upon Asan, and what does that look like? What happens if you're indoors? So a lot of considerations there, but I'm really proud
the
of
Griffin
how
Asan
Asan
is so
shows
cute.
up
Aw.
in the game alongside Davrin. And indeed, when you're doing some of Davrin's content, just seeing Asan gliding through the environments, you really get a sense that they care and they're protective about each other, but the work the team did to realize that was an incredible challenge. So kudos to the animation, the gameplay team. They did a wonderful job integrating that. So when we think about Davrin and his being the representative of the Grey Wardens within the team of the Veilguard, it was an opportunity for us to really go back to some of those roots that we know our fans, our players deeply care about. Dragon Age Origins, of course, was so Grey Warden forward. We want to evoke those memories, those connections that our players have. And I absolutely love when you're journeying with Davrin, not only his aesthetic, how he carries himself as a warden, but how he interacts with his fellow wardens. The little wrinkle of, hey, there
Much
actually are some
appreciated for that.
griffins remaining in Thedas. How he learns as a warden to train and interact with these griffins that, to our knowledge, haven't
memories are
existed
good.
for quite some time.
My memories
it's a
of
learning
Dragon Age
experience on a
personally
lost
are
art of the Grey
awesome.
Wardens that is really unique.
Let
to
me know
Davrin's
your memories
character.
in the comments.
We'll need someone with fire in their blood.
So Tosh,
Yeah, the Griffins
in
are
the creation
back.
of their arc, is one
Just
of
so you
our
know.
more complex characters.
And it's
It's
cute
a
and
journey
ferocious
along
as
their
ever.
arc that is about introspection. Where do I belong in the world? What are my boundaries? What do I fight for? How do I become at peace with who I am? So I love the juxtaposition,
Tash!
actually, between Tosh's
Tosh.
personal
Sorry.
journey
Tosh.
and this imposing literal dragon slayer. That sort of hard exterior and really gentle interior. It makes Tosh a really special companion for me. All right, yeah, I have to talk about the steamiest romances. All I can get, for me personally, I'll just speak for me personally, but at the culmination of the romance arcs, I'd have to say Tosh. When I got to that scene and saw the finished version of that cinematic, I was hollering.
This'll take more than you and me.
Ooh, here we
Harding,
go.
as a companion, I guess I'd have to go back to Inquisition. Of course, Harding showed up. She was your scout on the field. There
Really?
was a light romance with her.
That's a surprise.
And one of the
Maybe
things
a
that the team
pleasant
didn't
one?
quite
I don't know.
expect is how
You
much
tell me in
Harding
the
would
comments below.
catch on in Inquisition. Players fell in love with her. And, we heard them. They wanted a deeper romance.
Harding!
They wanted more engagement with Harding. So
She's one
for
of
the
my
team, I
all-time
felt like
favorite characters.
it was kind of a no-brainer for us to bring
Yeah.
back Harding.
I'm
We
getting
also
very
wanted
excited
to
and very
reestablish
giddy.
that connection to the Inquisition in the world of Thedas, which occurred 10 years ago, the events of Inquisition.
Heck yeah.
Harding serves as our proxy back to those events.
For good
We
reason.
get to learn about what's happened with the Inquisition since. So she presents some really lovely opportunities for us. I will say, personality-wise and her role on the battlefield, she is among my favorites.
I
When
know,
you see her leap
right?
into the air,
So cool.
unleashing these devastating attacks with her bow and arrow. I just can't get enough of her.
Yup.
Veil is a wound inflicted upon this world. It must be healed.
By drowning the world in demons.
I'm excited for that.
I have taken precautions to minimize the
Learning
damage
about the
Varric.
Inquisition and Veilguard.
Minimize the.
So, Rook's relationship with Solus is a complicated one. Everyone has seen at this point the gameplay reveal and the opening moments of the game, so you'll know things got shaken up pretty radically for Solus already. He's trapped. He's basically communicating with you as an advisor. And I absolutely love that idea of he's your lifeline right now, but can you trust him? And those touch points with him, do I take his advice or not? Can he be trusted? Is he going to betray me? All the while giving you this information that you absolutely need in order to be successful. It creates an interesting stage for us where I think our fans will agree Solus is very complicated. He firmly believes he's doing the right thing, and some of our fans
that's a
will
good
agree
question.
that he's trying to do the right thing. Others will not. And this creates a stage for you, the player, where you get to lean into those tendencies of your own
Very intriguing.
as you're taking advice from Solus throughout parts of the game. I think those really interesting debates about, was he ever redeemable? Can he be trusted? Was he wrong all along? You're really going to be able to dive in deep on that.
Please.
So Varric has changed since the events of Dragon Age Inquisition. He has spent the time between, he's briefly, obviously, Viscount of Kirkwall. I mean, anybody who knows much about Varric knows how well a job where he sits around and tells people what to do is going to sit with him.
Looking forward to it.
He has been participating in the hunt for Solus, and I think for Varric in particular, that's a very difficult thing for him to do because
Bianca,
Solus
no!
is his friend. Solus is somebody that he grew close to over the events of Inquisition. They adventured together, they worked together, and now knowing what Solus, who Solus really is, that eats at Varric. Varric believes he can always make somebody do the right thing. Varric believes he is the most convincing, charismatic, because he cares about people, and he has this belief that as long as I get a chance to talk to Solus, I'm going to be able to turn. But as he's seeing what Solus's ritual is doing to the world around, as he experienced
true.
in the comics, Dragon Age: The Missing, that eats at him a little bit. That's challenging his worldview of him as always being the best judge of people, being able to see that somebody is able to be redeemed, and he's starting to question a little bit, am I
Yes.
right, or am I being a fool by believing in Solus?
We're not in Minrathous anymore.
I know these trees. This is Arlethan Forest.
And there's your ritual. Power involved. I've never seen anything like it.
See that somebody is able to be redeemed, and he's starting to question a little bit, am I right, or am I being a fool by believing in Solus?
Asking the real question.